Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello and welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm Lauren Bollinger, and look who decided to come back from vacation.
How about
Captain
it?
Rick.
You know what? I was on vacation, and as you know, Lauren, the Sea Hunter is one of our sponsors, so we actually took our family vacation along with Joe Niebuhr from Contender Boats and Diane Niebuhr. But man, we got to do some diving. This is Colin with a lobster that he shot with the sling or whatever. What do you call that thing, Harry? Hawaiian sling. And then Ridge caught his first bonefish on fly. We waded miles and miles of flats, beautiful place, as well as Ridge caught a first African pompano.
Wow.
They had never caught an African pompano that I know of in Crooked Island, and we caught this one, a 30-pounder on 10-pound, and a Trigger X and a jig head, Bass Assassin jig head. It was crazy fun.
Nice.
7 days of food, and then I had to come back and do this.
Back to the grind. Looks nice.
Sit
Maybe
next
next
to
time
you.
you could take the rest of us with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
I think you owe us that by now.
Okay.
Well, as you guys heard, we do have Captain Harry back at the Workbench. He's still in for Dave this
Great
week.
to be here. I got some really cool stuff here, new product to show everybody. I wish I was on vacation too, by the way.
Yeah, right. Harry wants to go as well.
Vacation, but we got some really cool stuff. And
You told me you had a
rod
new set of
holders.
jugs.
I got a new set of jugs.
Yeah, man.
And I've got something to protect ourselves later on also. So we've got some really cool stuff for
All right.
later on.
Enough
Get
of you
good.
two with their man love. They've clearly missed
it.
each other. We're
Yeah, we
gonna.
did.
All right, we got to get going here. We're gonna start the night off in the Northeast with Captain Russell Theron. Captain Russell, kick off our mackerel chat for us.
Well, thank you, Lauren, and welcome back, Rick. And hey there, Captain Harry. You know, a lot of people take vacation here in Amelia Island, Florida. And two of the most popular mackerel that they catch in our region are the Spanish mackerel and the king mackerel. But I want to start out by saying congratulations to Marshall Atkinson. He was on the crew of the Getaway for catching the largest kingfish, a 46-pounder, in the 2013 Greater Jacksonville Kingfish Tournament. Now, as far as Spanish mackerel, some of the best spots to target these little speedsters are near shore, like along Little Talbot Island, east of Nassau Sound, as they're feeding on the glass minnows. Some of the other spots are like on the south end of the jetty that Rick will show you on the Navionics at Mayport, or the North Jetty tide line at the St. Mary's Inlet. Keep your eyes open for laughing gulls or maybe royal terns. Some like to troll, but we like to cast Castmaster spoons to get a long cast to cover, more area with a fast retrieve to get the bite. Most typical kingfish in our area can run anywhere from 10 to 25 pounds, and I have heard of some kingfish weighing over 60 pounds in our region. The Spanish mackerel are going to run anywhere to 1 and 3, and a big Spanish will run anywhere or push 5 to 6 pounds. Now, staying offshore...
Wait, Russell, I got to interrupt you. We've got to go ahead and take a second and look at the Navionics from your region, obviously. Now, guys, we're talking about the mackerel fishing, and the one thing that you need to understand is right off of Nassau Sound and Amelia Island, one of this area right in here, this is where Captain Russell's saying that you're going to find those kingfish running. Now, a little further south, down near the jetty, all the way down south, they also find the Spanish mackerels, as Russell was talking about. Now, guys, just look for the bird activity up on the surface. That's going to actually point out where these fish are very, very active. All right, Russell, tell me what else is happening offshore.
Hey, appreciate that, Rick. I talked with Captain Dennis Goldstein with Hot Fun Charters out of St. Augustine, and he was really fired up. He said the tarpon fishing behind the shrimp boats north of the St. Augustine Inlet has really turned on. And he said the reason for that is because they've had a really improved water quality. The water has cleared, and it's made it great for tarpon fishing. Now, if you find pogies along the beach, you can cast net them and use them for chum. Some of the best tackle that you might want to use to fish with a live pogie or a fresh dead pogie that you would be floating on the surface for the tarpon would be using like a medium light tackle, 25 to 30 pound main line, and with maybe 6 feet of 80 to 100 pound fluorocarbon leader with a 5/0 or a 7/0 VMC circle hook. Now you might want to use a sea anchor to slow your boat's drift, and chum with floating or cut pogies in 45 to 50 foot of water. Now watch for the tarpon as they begin to feed on the floating chum line. Your bait should look just like the floating chum. your best bait is definitely going to be a fresh whole pogie, and our tarpon are running anywhere from 70 to 120 pounds. Now, moving inshore, Rick, we're going to have a great low tide early this coming Saturday and Sunday mornings. So there's going to be a good redfish bite along the intercoastal waterway and the creeks. Now, the redfish bite is going to come in the staging areas where the fish will be congregating at low tide. Now, this is important because when redfish are in a school like this, they're very competitive. Now, what you want to use is either like a saltwater assassin, black and gold, and you want to rig it weedless with a quarter ounce, or you can use a quarter ounce hookup jig tipped with a bass assassin, gray ghost paddle, tail sheath shad. Stealth is very important. A lot of good scouting is going to really give you a good edge. The redfish are going to run anywhere from 3 to 7 pounds. Now, also, the mighty whiting are biting. Captain Steve Hare of the Ye Old Pirate of Fernandina Beach said that the summer has also been a great time for them to catch whitings in the St. Mary's Inlet by boat or by surf fishing from the beach at Fort Clinch State Park. Other good spots to fish along Amelia Island or the Amelia Island State Park at Nassau Sound, or maybe you want to hit the surf at Little Talbot Island. Also, a little bit further south, the beach at Guana River State Park, east of the gate station. Now, what you want to do is be sure you use a double hookup rig with enough weight to hold the bottom, either a 1/0 or a 2/0 VMC circle hook, tipped with a small, fresh peeled shrimp or squid is going to get you the fish. And the whiting are going to run anywhere from 1/2 to 1 pound. Some bull whiting are pushing 3 pounds.
All right, thanks, Russell. Great start for the night, and we appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and look at the strike zone hotspots from the Northeast region. Captain Russell says inshore, sight fish, redfish at first light Saturday and Sunday morning during the low tide along the ICW, creeks, and mudflats. And then offshore, tarpon are behind all the shrimp boats, Lauren, in 45 to 55 feet of water north of the St. Augustine Inlet. We're going to use a fresh whole pogie.
All right.
Not an old fogey, pokey.
Pogie, got it.
Right.
Okay. Right now, we're going to send it over to Captain Ron Houston. Ronnie, mackerel can be found inshore and offshore in the Southwest, right?
Yes, ma'am. Most of the Spanish mackerel in the region, like you said, can be caught inshore and offshore. Generally, it's easier to find these fish around structure or big schools of bait. On the inshore side, concentrate on grass flats, edges, passes, and beaches. On the offshore side, concentrate on wrecks, head pins, or large pods of birds. Always keep an eye out on the horizon for skipping fish. Now, fish can be caught all year round, but generally late October through April in the cooler months. Spanish mackerel and the king mackerels are abundant as they're making a migration going from south to north. They can be the best times of year, especially with the cooling water temps. But baits of choice can generally be just about anything once you locate the Spanish mackerel, from pilchards, threadfins, cigar minnows, live shrimp, silver spoons, white bucktails, lip plugs, and plenty of soft plastic imitations. One thing to look for always on the offshore side when you're locating the Spanish mackerel or when you're in the big schools, don't forget to drop down either a big threadfin, a large blue runner, or troll through the area with a large lip plug. Chances are you might catch some bigger scattered kings in abundance with the migrating Spanish mackerels, but also the better time of year to concentrate for the king mackerels, as we say, concentrating on wrecks, ledges, and hard bottom, drifting large live baits, trolling lip plugs, or using large live thread fins. Typical size generally can be for the Spanish mackerel anywhere from 1 to 5 pounds. Most kings in the area average anywhere from 12 to 30 pounds. And always remember, when you're fishing for these fish so you don't lose a bunch of lures and you catch that nice sized king mackerel, always use a small trace of wire when possible. On the inshore side, the redfish. You want to concentrate right now. We're having a full moon this week, so concentrate on getting out early morning with the cool water temps and the cool air temps. Early morning outgoing and late afternoon outgoing, anywhere from Whitehorse Key to Jack Daniels Key, strictly using topwater walk-the-dog lures, half-ounce gold spoons, and Bass Assassin 4-inch paddle tails of root beer or pumpkin and chartreuse on a quarter-ounce jig head along the outer Gulf points. Now, bright, solid colors for the topwater plugs due to the tannic water. Pilchers and cut baits have been working, but truthfully, I feel, in my opinion, the artificials have been working better, especially when you get a chance to cover more water to find these fish. Typical size right now for the reds are anywhere from 20 to 30 inches. Now, on the offshore side, Permit bite's still been great for the last couple months. It still remains to be good. It's been very productive actually all through the region, concentrating on a pattern, concentrating on working wrecks. But right now, Sanibel to Stump Pass, fishing in or around most noted structure, anchoring or drifting back and forth through these areas until you locate the fish. Remember, these schools ain't just going to jump out in front of you. You got to work for them. Sighting or looking on the bottom finder to locate these fish. Once you locate them, live crabs or live shrimp on a trawl right with some bright colors, whether orange, pink, and chartreuse. Typical size of these fish right now are 15 to 30 pounds. And then also the red and gag groupers. My report's changed in depth since the last week, and I keep an eye and concentrate on that. Marker to Fort Myers Beach in depth right now from 40 to 65 feet. As of last week, we were talking about the red groupers in only 40 to 55 feet. Concentrate on wrecks and ledges right now for the gags in 90 to 100 as we spoke last week, but I've been told in the last 2 days there's been a shift to strictly gags in 90 to 100 and a more abundance of red grouper in 45 to 65 with some scattered gags. And last week we talked about anywhere from 65 to 90 was bare. So a big push of red grouper to 65 to 45. And like I said, great gag fish in 90 to 100. Watch this weather. As long as it's moderate, listen to what I tell you, should have no problem catching the limit.
All right, great job, Ronnie. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Southwest region. Captain Ronnie says, inshore, snook, late afternoon outgoing from Marco to Fort Myers Beach along the beaches, blowdowns, rock piles, and passes, and then offshore, mangrove snapper. Nighttime bite is best from Sanibel to Stump Pass, fish the wrecks, chumming, and the dropping back small cut bait, Lauren, 15 to 30 miles out.
Alrighty, great start this week.
Man.
Stay with us, guys. On the other side of the break, we're going to check in with Captain Jim Ross, and we'll hear from Harry at the Workbench.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Lottery, Yeti Coolers, wildly stronger, keep ice longer, best parts, best prices, Bennett Auto Supply, Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company, Chevy, the IGFA, conservation through education, get your hands wet, and Olukai.
You, sir, own a new Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickup on the road. And the best pickup coverage in America.
I never get tired of hearing that.
Nice call on the Victory Red.
Victory is mine.
The Chevy Model Year End Event. The 13s are going fast. Time to get yours. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 60 months, or current Chevy truck owners can trade up to this Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition with $1,500 option package discount for a total value of $9,000.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
So many great experiences to share together. Marathon is the perfect place to keep your kids grounded and an even better place to watch them soar. Marathon in the Florida Keys.
Now let's go over our news and notes from the FWC. The FWC will be holding alligator hunting classes in July and August. It's highly recommended for first-time alligator hunters, and you can find one at the following locations. This Saturday, July 27th at the IGFA Fishing Hall of Fame in Dania Beach. July 31st at the Bryant Building in Tallahassee, and August 3rd at the Okeechobee County Civic Center in Okeechobee. You can find more information at myfwc.com. Right now, it's time for Off the Deep End.
Well, we're at the Jägermeister Workbench, and we're not hunting alligators, but you know what we are hunting? We're hunting mackerels this week,
Mackerel
Harry.
and your kingfish, it's something, it's just a blast to fish for. You know, when they're really schooling up and running all over the place, it's just, it's a lot of fun. We got different products, obviously, to use. I mean, what I like to use is a long jig, like so, and use a light wire with that, and a short piece. Some guys will use no wire because it's such a long bait, because those mackerel always, you know, hit behind, hit back a little bit.
And that's why the long shank
That's
hook.
why the long shank. And that particular style jig, you know, they come in various colors and everything like that.
And you guys sell these at Captain Harry's?
Of course, we sell everything at Captain Harry's. And there's different weights. Now, this is great for casting. You're going to wing this out and reel it real fast and dart it, jig it, jig it, move it around, and it's just mackerel like to hit stuff that's moving really, really super fast.
I like this one, these two, because they got red lips. Got lipstick on.
It's good. That'll work. That little green tail, though, don't knock that one out.
Oh, no.
I think you should have 4 or 5 of each color, really. But that'll
of course,
work.
you're selling them.
Yes, and then you've got something that has a little bit more weight, a little crippled herring.
Oh, yeah.
That thing there, you could be able to, and obviously you want to use, when you're doing for mackerel and stuff like this, you don't want heavy tackle. You want to go like 8 pound, 6 pound, 12 pound max, and you're able to wing this out pretty far and reel it in really, really, really quick to get those mackerels to strike. Just again, back to little mackerel. This is one of the top spoons that's been around for years. We'll troll this behind the boat on a light conventional reel with a little 2 ounce to a 4 ounce cigar lead in front of it that gets it down below the seaweed, gets it out there. And that little Clark spoon, it's been around for many years, and it's a great little spoon. Again, for casting far, getting it out there, you've got just different varieties. You got blues, silver, and your little greenish gold ones that work really, really well.
So for the pier guys, which they catch a lot of mackerels off of piers.
This would be phenomenal for the piers. This type of particular lure, 1 ounce, you can throw it far.
Now, drone spoon.
Drone spoon. These guys, from the day we opened up our store at Captain Harry's back in 1970, we have had drone spoons. 3.5 drone spoon for your big kings or any kind. I've caught wahoo. I've caught everything on a drone spoon. We've got a marlin on one, but this spoon, 3.5. Every charter boat captain, I guarantee, in Florida and elsewhere, has a 3.5 drone spoon. Now they make them in all various different colors. Greens, reds, black and reds, purples, everything just to have it. They have smaller sizes also for the mackerel, and then the bigger sizes for your bigger fish. But that spoon is just a killer. If you want to do something that's a little different, you're going to use your planer, and always the old witch. You're going to use a big planer. Now, there's different styles of planers, obviously. There's some that have big, wide sides on them. Those are made to go really super slow if you're going to use live bait. If you want to go a little faster and troll a little quicker like you do with kings, get the narrow planer that's got a little bit of reinforcement on it so it'll troll straight. If you use the big fat ones and try to go fast, what happens is they fold and then they end up spinning and they come up out of the water. And it makes a big mess. So that's your difference on your planer. Use a nice sea witch with a ballyhoo on the back of the planer, so when it hits, triggers it and comes up. And it works really, really super well for something like that.
Now, what about if you just one of my favorite baits for a kingfish is a live blue runner.
Oh, live blue runner?
So how are we going to rig that, Harry?
Well, you can either use a J hook or a circle hook. And again, I'll use a short piece of wire at the in front of the fish.
It's called a stinger rig?
Stinger rig. I'll hook that right through the nose of the bait, so it's going to be pulling from the nose. And then I take the stinger rig and I just poke it right into the side. Some people leave it free. I like to just stick it in the side of the fish, in the back. And then a short piece of wire here, and we'll normally do just like a swivel here. They make these little tiny swivels now that are like 75-pound tests that are super strong.
Right.
And or you can use a small little ball bearing swivel here.
Gotcha.
Snap swivel, and it's excellent.
And then let me ask you something. Spanish mackerels and stuff, the little jigs, the nylon jigs, like this hook up here.
Yep.
Very popular, certainly at Flamingo. Some guys tip them with a shrimp,
Oh, yeah.
Now, when you're using this, you use wire or 60-pound mono? You get more bites with mono, right?
You're gonna get more bites with mono, but you're gonna get a lot of cutoffs. That's the only problem with mono. But you're definitely gonna get more strikes. It's just like using your vertical jigs and stuff like that. You're gonna get more bites just the jig itself. But once you put wire on there, your bite's cut in half and you lose a lot of fish. So it's not that great. So I don't like doing something like that. Now, if you want to get deep, X-Wrap. This little guy right here, Rick, is just a killer. And it dives down to 20 feet.
Big lip plugs is what the guy
and
talks
it dives
about.
down 20 feet. It's just, it'll catch a nice one for you for sure.
All right, good job over here at the Jägermeister Workbench. We're going to turn it over to the other stinger rig of the show.
There you go.
Lauren, where do we go from here?
Stinger rig. I kind of like it. Lauren's Stinger rig Bullander. I'm going to start putting that on stuff.
All
nice.
right.
Okay, right now we're going to go to the Central East with Captain Jim Ross. Jim, you also have a couple of varieties of mackerel in the CCA Central East, right?
Oh, we sure do, Lauren. I tell you, we don't have the Cerro, but in the CCA Central East region, the Spanish and Kings are very plentiful most of the time. The Spanish are generally best in the spring and fall when the glass minnow pods are moving up and down along the coast here. And anglers can generally catch them while casting or trolling. And like they were showing at the Workbench there a minute ago, small silver spoons work real good. The gotcha lures are fantastic. Hookup jigs are very good as well. And some of the real easy ones to use are the Rapala X-Wrap and Scatter Wrap lip diving plugs, because you don't have to cast them. You can just troll them behind the boat and still catch those Spanish mackerel. Now for the king mackerel, we like to troll larger plugs, just like those lip diving plugs, but 5, 6, 7, 8-inch sizes. And you want to go with a naked or a skirted ballyhoo if you're on the offshore trolling grounds. That seems to catch more king mackerel out there, and that's, say, 90 to 180-foot depth. They don't normally get too deep, but, if you're in the 120 to 150, you can still get some nice king mackerel on those trolling baits. Now, the other thing that is really just kind of the staple here is the twin hook stinger rig, and that's what we use on our 70 to 90-foot reefs in conjunction with pilchards, pogies, greenies, live baits of that nature. You can usually cast net those baits, or you can sabiki those baits up within a few miles of most of the Central East region inlets. Now, summertime king mackerel can also be caught on the inshore waters as well, and anglers will do, once again, slow troll with those live baits in the 25 to 45-foot depths. And that's how we catch some of the biggest king mackerel of the year. Sean Machella and Mark Whitmire just got a 50-pounder doing that off Canaveral the other day. Basically, you can catch them while you're trying to catch tarpon as well. I had one the other day in 9 feet of water. The fish was in the mid-30-pound range just outside the surf break right here in Cocoa Beach. So wherever the bait fish is, that's where you want to try and do your trolling. Now, our average Spanish mackerel runs about 2 to 3 pounds, and our typical king mackerel generally runs about 14 to 24 pounds here in the CCA Central East region. And I've got a photo here of a typical beach mackerel. Mark Castellano came over from Cape Coral and got one of these nice king mackerel with me on a trip not too long ago. And once again, that fish hit a live bait slow trolled. Now, our other thing that we have offshore right now is we have some really good mangrove snapper fishing. The 60 to 90-foot structures are what's holding those mangrove snapper. Now, I was talking with Captain Brad Spalding on the charter boat, the Brassy Hooker, the other day, and he's had some really good catches lately. He's been averaging 20 to 35 snapper in the 4 to 8-pound range on his recent trips. Now, Captain Brad says the best way to get them is to anchor and chum them to the surface. Now, anglers will want to use a 20 to 30-pound test suffix leader and a small hook so that you can fool those keen-eyed snapper. Now, if the bite slows down, continue chumming, but don't put any hooks out in the baits until the snapper get a little less wary, and then you can start putting some hooks back in there, and you can start catching those fish again. And then inshore, we've got tarpon right now. It's tarpon time along the beaches and at the inlets. You can look for the tarpon feeding just outside the surf break on the pogie pods, mainly in the morning and midday periods. And then they're going to move a little farther off the beach. Come noon, 12, 1 o'clock-ish, they'll get out to that 25 to 45-foot depth area. You want to slow troll or drift with live pogies on a Suffolk 60 to 80-pound test leader, and you want to use an 8/0 size VMC 7385 circle hook. Now, if you're fishing in the inlets, try the outgoing tide, especially at Ponce and at Sebastian. Live baits will work, but also larger spoons, hookup jigs. There's a lot of different things that you can throw on those outgoing tides. Lip diving plugs like that Rapala X-Wrap 14 are also getting plenty of strikes for anglers that are fishing in the inlet at night. Captain Glenn Austin was telling me that the other day. They were doing really good at Sebastian on those. Now, our average tarpon's running 75 pounds, but fish into the 150-pound range are very likely right now. And my last species for the night is speckled trout. They're hitting near the docks and the mangroves in the southern portion of the Indian River Lagoon this week. You want to throw topwater plugs like a storm chug bug or a Rapala skitter walk or the X walk. They're working pretty well on most days. Now, you also want to look for the trout holding around those mullet pods on the open flat areas. Live pinfish, pigfish, or cut ladyfish are working good for those trout, especially the ones that are in the Mosquito Lagoon right now. Captain Mike Mann reported he had some really good catches of trout with his clients on most of the days he's been out this past week. And you want to look for the larger trout in the super shallow water. They're actually tailing and waking around through those real shallow areas and on top of the bars in the Mosquito Lagoon. Now, most of those fish are holding in, like I said, 1 to 2 feet of water. You can drop off in the middle of the day and still catch those fish. You'll also catch the smaller fish in those 3 to 4 foot depths as they drop off those edges later in the day. Now, our average Central East region trout's running about 12 to 17 inches right now, so there's some pretty good catches out there.
All right, great job, Jim. We're going to go ahead and get to the hot spots from the East, the CCA Central East region. All right, Captain Jim says inshore, mixed bag of ladyfish, trout, jacks near the glass minnow pods in the Indian River. Use X-Wrap 8 lures in olive green color. That'll probably give it your best chance. And then offshore, tarpon along the beaches. Use live pogies on Suffolk 60 to 80 pound test leader and an 8.0 VMC circle hook.
Okay, when we return, we're going to check in with Jeff Hageman in the Northwest and Randy Tao in the Keys. And remember to check us out on our website, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at Chevy FIFR TV. There's lots more to come on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Guy Harvey Clothing by AFTCO. Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin. The best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers. Everything for your outdoor adventures. Croquis, made in the USA. Drummond Community Bank. Costa. See what's out there. And Lumber Rock.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
At highway speeds, things can get pretty windy. That's why the Chevrolet Cruze Eco has active aero grille shutters that close at higher speeds to improve aerodynamics. With an EPA estimated 42 miles per gallon highway, the Chevrolet Cruze Eco offers the best highway fuel economy of any gas engine in America. Always thinking of ways to give you more while using less. That's American ingenuity to find new roads.
What is CCA? CCA has been representing recreational fishermen for over 25 years, and when your rights to fish are threatened, the CCA is there to make sure government regulators are making sound decisions. I'm a life member of CCA, and when fishery decisions are being made, the CCA in the room is fighting for our recreational rights. We need to give our kids the same opportunities to fish as we did. Do what I did. Go to ccaflorida.org and join for only $25 so you can protect your recreational angling rights.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
Don't forget, the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report wants to see your photos. Head to our Facebook page and upload your best shots for your chance to be featured right here on the show. And if you'd like to be part of our audience, you can register right there as well. Now, Rick, you still have some pretty good examples of some Facebook pictures for us.
We've got our Facebook fans every week sending our pictures, and I got to tell you guys, the first picture is sent in by Michael Wilson of Lakeland, Florida. It's a beautiful face of a kingfish, and you can see those teeth. That's why we got to use wire leader, obviously. The second photo, Richard DeLeon, he's always sending in great Spanish mackerel caught in the Florida Keys on the bamboo charters. He was with Captain Mike O'Dale. And then the last is Lauren Paco from Pompano Beach with a pair of nice kingfish. Good job, Lauren. Thank you guys for sending in your photos each week. We really appreciate that.
Yeah, good job, Lauren.
Good job, Lauren. All right, Lauren.
In the Yeti Northwest region is where we find Captain Jeff Hageman. Captain Jeff, it sounds like the water may be a little bit warm for the biggest part of the mackerel this time of year, right?
That is true. Good job, Lauren. We got plenty of mackerel, though. Most of the time we get them in our spring and our fall. That's when our big runs are. That magic 68, 72-degree water is when you're going to find the big concentrations of them. We've got scattered Spanish right now. But our big kingfish push, like I said, is in that fall and that spring. You can catch them on rock piles, hard bottom, wrecks. Anywhere there's a big concentration of bait fish is usually going to find them. You can catch them right on the beach from 10 feet of water on out to 100. So any of those rock piles, wrecks, any kind of that, the Egmont Channel is another great place to catch Spanish mackerel and kingfish. You can catch them slow trolling, fast trolling with spoons, but slow trolling with live baits is pretty effective. You can anchor up on these places and throw a lot of chum out, chum bags, and bring them right to the back of the boat. Real fun fish to catch. They make long searing runs. You can catch them kingfish, anywhere from 15 to 20 pounds on a spinner is plenty with braid, and then just go down trout tackle when you're actually catching Spanish, and makes it a lot of fun for the family. But lots of them, just don't have the right temperature for them right now.
All right, what do you have good temperature for, bud?
Our tuna and dolphin fishing right now has actually been pretty good. Captain Harry Connor of Hook'em Harry Charters reports that the tuna and the dolphin right now, 30 to 40 miles off St. Pete, is where you want to be. You want to look for birds and baits. Look for those weed lines out there is another great thing to do. Start off slow trolling. Once you get hooked up, start pouring the chum out, and you can bring them right to the back of the boat. Now, as far as the tuna go, a lot of guys like to run out, get behind the shrimp boats. Once you break about 90 feet of water, most of the wrecks out there, you can chum up to the blackfin tuna and get them to come up. It takes a lot of chum to pour it out to them, and just fill your live well up first thing in the morning, take it out there and start dumping it out, and you can bring them right to the back of the boat. And occasionally get that little schoolie dolphins coming up, but most of the dolphin right now are going to be finding those weed lines.
All right, let's go inshore.
Inshore, Captain Jamie Goodwin of Florida, fishflorida.com, reports a great snook bite right now in the lower part of my region. Most of the passes in the lower part of the region, Blind Pass, John's Pass, Santee, Honeymoon, are all holding fish. Pinfish and grass grunts, not a Key West grunt, but a grass grunt, have been the tickets for catching these big fish. Right now, they're averaging anywhere from 30 inches on up to 40 inches. Some really big females out there right now. So you want to use 30-pound Stuff Explorer carbon leader as a minimum, even up to 40, and a 5/0 and 4/0 hook, depending on the size of your bait. If you're using a big bait, you want to have a big hook in there to get that bite and not miss it. But just freeline them in the tide and just drift out on the tide along those jetties, rock piles, and those passes right there in the inlets. And also inshore, we've still got plenty of scallops right now. Scallops have been really easy to get. Get reports throughout the upper part of my region right now. It's a great way with as hot as it is right now. It takes the family off, go out in the boat, jump over the side, get cooled off by diving for these things. They're big right now. There's lots of them. It's easy to get a limit, and it's a lot of fun for the family. And remember to fly those dive flags.
All right, great report from the Yeti Northwest region. Jeff, we're going to go ahead and get a chance to look at the Drummond Community Bake hotspots. Let's see. Okay, Captain Jeff says inshore, snook bite in the lower part of his region, and on the outgoing tide, use pinfish and sardines. And then offshore, tuna and dolphin from 30 to 40 miles off of St. Pete. Look for the birds in the bait, Lauren.
Okay, Rick. Captain Randy, yes?
You saw that. No mustache
I did
video.
see that. That was
weird.
weird.
That was days before the man stash. Just saying.
All right. Well, Captain Randy Tao has been waiting for us in the La Jolla, Florida Keys. And Randy, this isn't really the best time for mackerel, is it?
Hey, guys. This time of year, it's not our peak mackerel season or the Cero mackerels or the Spanish mackerels, but it's more in this winter and the springtime for us down here. Now, we've got a lot of places where you can catch these fish. You can catch them on the Atlantic. You can catch them on the patch reefs. You can catch them in the Gulf. So it's really widespread. It's a popular thing in the wintertime and the spring, guys targeting these fish. Now, the kingfish, those you're going to target with bigger baits, mainly on the Atlantic, and something like a live Speedo or a Blue Runner, kite fishing works good. Slow trolling works good for us down here as well. And then if you want to catch some of these Spanish mackerels and Cero mackerels, they're inshore a little bit. They're inside the reef, in between the edge of the reef and Hawks Channel on some of the patches, and then some of the backcountry, the Gulf side areas, anywhere from 6 to 10 feet, you can find these mackerel back there. And also out on some of the Gulf wrecks, you're going to find some real big kingfish in the springtime out there on some of the wrecks.
All right, what else you got for me offshore, bub?
You know, dolphin fishing is still pretty good. We've got a full moon this week, and dolphin fishing is good. I talked to a couple of guys that have been catching them now. We had a lot of schoolies around, and it seems like the schoolies have thinned out. Not as many fish, but they're bigger right now. You really need to look for your birds. That's key. Anywhere from 400 to 1,000 feet of water. I know that's a pretty big stretch, but what happens, you want to start looking in that 400-foot range if you see anything floating, if you see any birds. There hasn't been a lot of weeds or weed lines to troll down, so there's really nothing that's going to stand out and say start fishing here. You just got to, look at the area, see if it looks good. I've got a photo of Juan Carlos, who was fishing down here, and a couple of nice dolphin. He found the birds, he got under them, and there's some big dolphin right now.
Wow, that's awesome, man. Good job, Randy. All right, what you got for me inshore, bud?
Snook fishing. Here we're all taking a break from tarpon fishing. Tarpon season's kind of slowing down, and guys are getting more into snook and reds. The snook bite right now out around the Flamingo area and some of the mangrove islands we have in between here and Flamingo have been holding pretty good snook. Still got to let them go, but plenty of fish. Live finger mullet, pilchards, pinfish on a 1/4 to 3/8 ounce hookup has been working good, and you're going to fish along these mangrove islands wherever you have some current, and you want that bait to drift by these overhanging branches, and you're going to catch some nice snook right now.
What else, bub?
The tarpon fishing, here we go. We do have some backcountry tarpon fishing. Not a lot around Islamorada right now. It's slowed way down, but the backcountry stuff is certainly the next few months we're going to have some good fishing. It's spotty. Certainly around the better tides, you're going to find them. I know the last couple of days we've had some pretty good tides back there, and there's been some tarpon showing up. Guys are catching them on a fly rod. They're catching them on bait. I've got a photo of our very own Dave Farrell was fishing with his son Jack, and we caught 2 nice tarpon a couple mornings ago on his Keys trip.
That's awesome, Randy. I got a question for you. We renamed the fish box when we were down in Crooked Island. My captain there, Andy, was a guy, he calls it, he calls it the hurt box when you go and put the dolphin in the hurt box. So I just want you to know we got a new name for the fish box. But the question I have for you, you fish with Dave Farrell and his son Jack, right?
Yes.
Tell me how fun that was. I mean, Dave Farrell's a nutcase. Did Jack catch that tarpon?
We had a great time. It was, unfortunately, the weather was pretty lousy for him most of the week, and that was one morning that the weather broke, and we left real early, and his son Jack did catch a tarpon, his first one, about a 120-pounder.
Wow. Well, we certainly appreciate you taking a photo of that and sharing it with us. All right, Bub, I'll talk to you on the way home when I get done here because I know you called me and I owe you a phone call, and so I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to go ahead and get to the hot spots from the La Jolla, Florida Keys region. All right, inshore snook. Fish live bait around the mangrove islands in and around Flamingo. Look for them on the top of the flats whenever you can find those white holes. And then offshore, swordfish. Drop in 1,500 to 1,800 feet of water with fresh bait like a bonita, or maybe a dolphin, or even a cuda strip, anything that stinks. Keep the line straight up and down by holding your boat into the current whenever you're dropping. That's a long ways down, Lauren.
It is. We should have figured Dave Farrell would figure out a way to kind of keep his presence known. Even when he couldn't be here on the show with us. Of course,
that's Dave.
That's so Dave. All right, guys, we're going to take a look and see what tournaments are going on in the Keys for you real quick. First up, at the Robert James Slam Celebrity Tournament, set for September 7th through the 9th, anglers target tarpon, permit, and bonefish to achieve the coveted Flats Grand Slam. The first of 3 events in the annual Redbone Series in the Keys raises funds for the fight against cystic fibrosis. The Islamorada Invitational Fall Fly Bonefish Tournament, scheduled for September 10th to the 13th, is not only the Key's oldest bonefish fly tournament, it's the most prestigious in the world. Past grand champions include Flip Pallett, Billy Pate, Carl Hyacin, and Andy Mill. One of the oldest fishing tournaments in the Florida Keys for more than 50 years, the Marathon International Bonefish Tournament awards individual and team champions scoring the largest bonefish and permit, as well as top anglers in fly and Grand Slam divisions. This year's tournament, set for September 19th to the 22nd, also features the tongue-in-cheek Wet Pants Champion titles for anglers waiting from shore. Not the wet pants you're thinking of, right? All right, and finally, named after the man known as Mr. Everglades, the Herman Lucerne Memorial Tournament is set for September 21st and 22nd. This catch and release tournament focuses on snook, snapper, redfish, trout, bonefish, tarpon, and black drum. Right now, we're going to hear from Andy Newman in the Florida Keys about this week's featured tournament. Andy?
Hey, guys. And Rick, by the way, congratulations on your accolade by Saltwater Sportsman Magazine there with the top 50 charter boat and actually not charter boat, but fishing guides in the country. Congratulations on that.
Well, thank you so much, Andy. Thank you.
Very good. Now, anyway, we're going to talk about the Drambuie Key West Marlin Tournament. It was staged this past weekend down in the Florida Keys. $50,000 guaranteed cash prize. Let's take a look at some video from this tournament that we have exclusively for Florida Insider Fishing Report. Had about 200 anglers fishing in this tournament, and very interesting story. We're just going to take a look at some random scenes here. But traveling on his first saltwater fishing trip ever, Oklahoma businessman Mark Truitt, he caught among the first fish, he caught a dolphin. Then he caught a 500-pound blue marlin, caught that fish, released it. It actually struck a red, white, black, and blue-colored Polukai caveman lure. Took him about 2.5 hours to get the fish to the boat. The other accomplishment is that the boat's captain, Jason Jonas, 27, he had never won a fishing tournament in the Florida Keys. Despite having his captain's license for 9 years, he won that tournament for his very first victory. High-class hooker was second, and Mr. Z was third. Now, this tournament, as we take a look here at that, a couple of blue marlin caught. By the way, 5 blue marlin caught and released for the tournament. Really good thing. Tournament stages during the Hemingway Days Festival. That's the running of the bulls that you're taking a look at as well. And, of course, the most popular event is the Hemingway Look-alike Contest. You're taking a look at Papa Hemingway 2013. That's Stephen Perry of Palm Harbor, Florida. Of course, much more information on all the events in the Florida Keys, Rick and Lauren, on that Florida Keys website. It's flakeys.com.
Thank you, Andy. Good job.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. You know, I need to get you signed up for the running of the bulls.
I know.
See how you'd fare.
I bet I could really run if I had a bull getting ready to, well, you know.
Yeah, we'll see what your short legs could do in a bull with
yeah.
All right, when we return, we're going to check out what's going on the east, and Harry's going to show us what's new at the Workbench. Don't miss it, guys.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by CCA, the voice of recreational anglers for over 25 years. The Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. And Maverick Boat Company, makers of premium brand boats. Maverick, Hughes, Pathfinder, and Cobia.
Hi, I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and you already know that whenever I need to repair my boat, my truck, or even my trailer, I'm gonna head right over to Bennett Auto Supply. Bennett Auto Supply has a lot of quality products that's gonna fit all my needs. Whether it's boat chamois, batteries, or spark plugs, they have everything there, and they certainly are a lot cheaper than most marine stores. So remember, Bennett Auto Supply, the best parts, the best prices at Bennett Auto Supply.
He's a 20 years straight, get to work on time. He's loved one woman for all his life. Everybody knows he ain't just tough, he's strong.
The all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
new products right here at the Jägermeister Workbench.
Yeah,
Well, I've been stumbling and fumbling. I feel like the guy on
back to your
ESPN.
show,
There
huh?
he goes up out there. I drank an
There you
amp before
go.
the thing. And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. All right, some really cool stuff. This is the hydro flask.
Ah.
What's really cool about this, obviously they come in different colors.
Right.
It's double walled, so it's not going to sweat. So if you have something really, really cold in here for 12 hours, it's going to be really, really cold in this deal. Lifetime warranty on these things. They're made of aluminum. They also have a specialty cap that can go on here for just if you want to just have a lid to drink. On it.
So you can put hot and cold in here?
Hot and cold inside this baby, and it holds up for a very long time. BPA approved, free.
What does that mean?
Cool. Actually, Lauren was explaining to me earlier, but that was what it does. It's the materials that it's made out of is the chemicals, all the stuff that's not going to harm you. Whatever you put in there, hot or cold, it's not going to come back and bite you in the butt down the line because everything
Not
does.
like the plastic in the microwave.
In the microwave and all that. So it was kind of cool. So she taught me that today, which was pretty cool. Okay, this is something that's pretty neat. My father, growing up forever, said, "Son, you have to use protection."
Yeah.
And I said, "Dad, I do," but he's like, "No, you got
quite large.
on your arms." Well, a little bit, that happens. But what this is a sun protector. This slides right on your arm.
Oh.
Now, what's great about this deal here? You want the seam to be on the bottom, and it covers your arm, your hand a little bit there. I wish I'd worked out a little bit before this, but unfortunately I didn't.
Having a problem.
Yeah, but what's great about this, if you want to get rid of your farmer's tan, say it's sunny out all day, you've got. I like wearing short sleeve shirts all day long,
right.
And your arms start burning, getting torn up. It takes a second to put these on. When they get wet, they cool down. Actually, it's just a neat deal. It's very comfortable. Say it gets cloudy out, you want to take it off, just pull it off. Pretty simple deal.
Guys like me that have little bird legs, I could do that
on your legs.
on the calf.
Well, they've got clothing. Sims has clothing also that matches up with this. And it has a little snap on it, so it can snap, so you can keep it together all the time.
Nice, so you don't lose one.
So you don't lose one. So it's pretty cool. Blue Water came out with a really neat set of pliers right here. It's got the aluminum 7.5 inch aircraft grade. It's got the pliers, the cutters, which is really good because it's on the side. They're not in the middle. Some of these pliers that come out, the cutters are in the middle. So if you want to cut off the knot real close to the lure, the jig, whatever you're doing, you're not able to do it. But being at the end, you can do that.
So you can get these, if you guys are in the Panhandle region, go to Blue Water Outriggers down in Port St. Joe and get you a pair.
Yeah.
I like the fact that they have the also interchangeable jaws.
Jaws, yep, which is
come
fantastic.
with a nice little sheath.
Yep.
And not
it's a
too
good
expensive.
little cutter.
That's what I like.
Yep. All right.
So
Columbia's come out with some really cool stuff. Now these are really neat. There's different styles. You have the bandana, oops, and then you have one that goes, like this particular style is like the buffs that you see.
Right.
They wrap them all around their heads and all that. This is that type of material. What's great about this stuff here is when it gets wet, it gets very cool. However it works, the material that they use, this particular one, you can just wrap it around your neck. You can put it over your head and your forehead, and it actually, if you start sweating, it starts cooling. So it's really neat stuff that Columbia's come up with.
And we can buy these at Captain Harry's?
Of course you can get those at Captain Harry's.
You can get everything
but
at Captain Harry's.
It's great stuff to have and works very well.
Now, let's talk about the rod rack.
Okay, the rod racks, these are pretty cool. These are King Kaz rod holders. These things are pretty much indestructible. They're very strong, waterproof. They're not going to rust out on you. You can put your conventional rods and reels in here. I just put these little tiny ones in just to show what it is, but big spinners, conventional, 6.0s, 9.0s, all that big game stuff you can put in these also. They come into 12 to 8 rod holders, which is pretty cool. This to me is important. As you well know, a lot of guys just take their old line and they run in the boat and they empty the reels and they cut the line off and out in the water. It's kind of, people that do that, come on, get back to the takeoff. This is a real cool little deal. You pull that wing nut off of there, slide this guy off like that, and that's how you take your line off. Now what this does, you take this and hook it up, put that to a drill. Everybody's got a drill. Everyone has a drill. And all you're gonna do is take that nut, and screw that on there, get it where it's snug, and just with your drill, with your spinner or
Right.
your conventional,
There
and
you
that
go.
thing will just start spinning and wing it right on. Take your line off, take it away. There's recyclable everywhere you go. And all these
The
boat ramps,
FWC?
they've got these
Recycle
nice
bins?
recycle bins. Take that stuff and just throw it in there. So don't dump your line out in the water and stuff like that. That's just kind of a bummer to do that. The Fubu, or Fubu, this little gadget here is kind of a cool little thing made out of aluminum. It's when you want to tie knots. This is good for your keychain on the boat, whatever. Take your hook and hook it on there, pull it. And it works pretty cool.
You can pull down on your knots.
Cinch down on your knots as
If
you're
this was
tying them,
mono?
if that was mono, and you can just pull it real tight and everything because you're always looking for
Cool.
stuff on the boat to tie it.
I like.
That little guy there works phenomenal.
Very simple. You stick it in your pocket, carry it with your lips.
And you
lip
got it.
balm.
And it's really cool. Works good.
Harry, you're always
man,
lots
trying
of
it.
fun over here at the Workbench. High
Gotta do
energy impact. And speaking of high energy and total impact, Lauren,
There you go.
Go ahead. Take it away.
I love my intros tonight.
Man,
I write this stuff down.
You could tell I missed you while I was
Nah,
gone.
I guess so. Right now it's time to head east, guys, but unfortunately Captain Mike Holliday's not with us tonight. We're going to work with Captain Ed Zayak. Right now is when we see a little bit of a push for these species in your region, right, Ed?
That's right. Yeah, we start to see a little push this time of year with the mackerel, the king mackerel especially. In this region, July, the fish are going to be around the bait schools off of Martin and St. Lucie counties, and there'll be school fish on the offshore bars, St. Lucie County, and the 6 and 8 mile reefs in Martin County as well. Probably a few stragglers off of Juneau Pier in 120, 160 feet of water. But most of the biggest kingfish will be on the beaches, up in the areas like the Bureau Cove or off the bathhouses and South Beach and Fort Pierce.
All right, Eddie, you got some Spanish mackerel stuff for us, or are you ready to go
Yeah.
offshore? Tell me about the wahoos. Either way, I don't care.
We got some Spanish in this area too. They're not thick like they are in the fall, but the Spanish that we do catch this time of year are pretty much in the same zones on the nearshore reefs around Peck's Lake, but you can live chum them up with some filters. And if you get them going, you can really catch them. But the big push for us is the fall.
All right, another toothy critter you got in your region, wahoo. A little further
Wahoo,
offshore. Tell me
yes,
about
sir.
it.
The full moons the last couple of days have really lit up the wahoo bite, especially off of Palm Beach County. 3 to 5 days, usually on either side of the newer full moons in July or August are prime wahoo fishing times. This year's no different. You want to get on the water early by 5:30. Usually by 9 you're done, and you're working the edges of the bonita schools. And the wahoo will come in to feed on the bonita, slow troll, a stinger rig, live bonita, or a large blue runner, or you can troll a horse ballyhoo, rigged with a red and black Islander lure. Probably the most effective way to target them is a high-speed trolling with like the Yozuri bonita lures or braid speedmasters. Most of the fish are 20 to 40 pounds.
Those are big ones. All right, tell me about the photo here, Eddie.
That's Chris Bishop. He caught that 52-pound wahoo, 120 feet of water off of Lost Tree Village, and he was high-speed trolling a Yozuri sashimi bonita in flying fish color with a 32-ounce rolling weight in front of it. So that high-speed trolling is a deal.
All right, that's no doubt. And you know what? The other deal is fishing inshore with you and Stuart. So tell me about the snook fishing.
Snook fishing, of course, is really good. It's wide open. All the inlets are holding the fish. Palm Beach Inlet, the fish are mainly on the south side. Jupiter, most of the fish are on the north side and around Blowing Rocks. You get up here by me in the St. Lucie and Fort Pierce, most of the fish there are going to be on the south side of the inlets. If you're on the water early, you can throw some soft plastics or some topwater plugs. Once the sun gets up, you want to get onto the live bait, threadies, pilchards, bunker. If it's swimming and wiggling, they're going to eat it. Most of the smaller male fish will be tied against the rocks. The larger fish will be 3 feet or more off of the rocks. And again, the season's closed, so we want to use circle hooks. Make sure we're real careful with the fish. And what we try to do is unhook them in the water and never even take them out. Most of the fish are 8 to 12 pounds. This week we've been catching some fish, over 25 pounds. Been some pretty good fish there this week.
All right, tell me about the flatfish, bub.
Flounder are here. The boys got their gigs all sharpened up, and they're going to work up here on the west side of the Indian River. But we get some of our biggest flounder this time of year. And there are a lot around the bridges and the docks in the Indian River between Jensen and Fort Pierce. a Little Jim Bridge, South Bridge, and the Spur Jetty and Fort Pierce are probably three of the best places to target flounder. You also find them around the catwalks at Jensen Beach Causeway. There's a little pier around Bear Point that they definitely stack up there. And what the fish like to do is they hang out in the shallow water near the pilings and close to the little juvenile pilchard and threadfin schools. They're usually in that area this time of year. The flounder will sit down below those bait schools, and as the bait comes close to the bottom, they start feeding. Either tide is good as long as you have moving water. Always a live finger mullet, like on a 2-0 circle hook. Little sinker about 6 inches above the hook is the way to go. You're casting it up current, kind of working it back, sliding it and bouncing it on the bottom. You can also crawl little white curly tail grubs this time of year. Most of the flounder average between 1 and 4 pounds. Sometimes we get 1 in double digits, but 1 to 4 is average.
All right, Eddie, as part of Mike's report, he's got to talk about the bass fishing in your region, so why don't you tell me what he said?
I love it. Well, Mike told me, he said, if you're targeting them bass, you want to get on the water at dawn in the St. Johns River area near Palatka. They're looking for schooling bass around the points where the canals and creeks join the main river. And basically, it's the moving water deal. So when the water's pushing the shad and the bluegill around, those bass are kind of moving in and schooling up. You can throw topwater plugs, white spinner baits. We can throw in DOA airheads and white. Most of the fish are around 4 pounds. Sometimes you'll see them busting, but most of the time you're blind casting. But at least you have a target. You know that those junctures where the water's flowing in. Later, the fish are moving over to the docks, and you want to choose your dock wisely. You want to find the ones that are kind of low to the water and put out a lot of shade, especially this time of year. It's getting so hot. And you want to cast lipless crankbaits, watermelon red glitter worms, or live shiner. Most of the bigger fish are going to come out from under those docks.
All right.
After about 10:30, it's over.
All right, good job, Eddie. Thanks for filling in for Mike, and we'll go ahead and get to the Bennett Auto Supply hotspots from the East region. Inshore, mangrove snapper and all the inlets fish slack tide with live or dead Spanish sardines, threadfins, pilchards, or sand perch on a 2-0 VMC circle hook. And then offshore, muttons and yellowtail snapper, 80 to 110 feet of water from Jupiter Inlet to Palm Beach Inlet. Live or dead sardines or cigar minnows in 30 foot of water or 30 foot of fluorocarbon leader. Gotta have some long leader.
Gotta have it.
They gotta have it.
Yeah, okay, guys, you gotta stick around. We still haven't heard from Jimbo Thomas out of the Southeast or Jeffrey Page in the Central West, and it's all coming up right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevy, the Florida Lottery, Best Parts, Best Prices, Bennett Auto Supply, Contender Boats, Performance Through Innovation, Navionics, We Start Where the Roads End, and Guy Harvey, artist, explorer, marine scientist, conservationist, and diver.
You, sir, own a new Silverado, the most dependable, longest-lasting, full-size pickup on the road. And the best pickup coverage in America.
I never get tired of hearing that.
Nice call on the victory red.
Victory is mine.
The Chevy Model Year End Event. The 13s are going fast. Time to get yours. Right now, get 0% APR financing for 60 months, or current Chevy truck owners can trade up to this Chevy Silverado All-Star Edition with $1,500 option package discount for a total value of $9,000.
Continuing the revolution. Faster, drier, even better built. Designed around Yamaha's latest technology outboards. Still built by the same craftsmen and anglers who launched the Bay Boat Revolution. Whether chasing world records, or time on the water with the family, or anything in between, there's a new Pathfinder model for you. Pathfinder, #1 for a reason, still.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Make sure you check out our website at the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.com, where you can get daily reports from our 9 captains. Also, if you'd like to be featured on our show, upload your best photos to our Facebook page. And if you'd like to be part of our audience, you can register right there as well. Right now, we're going to turn to the Southeast region with Captain Jimbo Thomas. Jimbo, what's going on with mackerel in your region?
Well, you know, lately the kingfish bite has been very inconsistent off of Miami. We're catching a few of them on live baits, and we've been fishing the live baits near the bottom in 150 to 180 feet of water. But we'll catch them one day, they'll bite one day, then the next day we can't get a bite. So it just hasn't been as good as it should be. I've been speaking with Captain Art Sapp. He fishes out of Boynton Inlet. He said that they've been getting anywhere from 6 to 10 kingfish bites a day on live baits, but that really isn't very good either. Now, normally we would be catching kingfish fairly good this time of the year, but for some reason they've just been very inconsistent, like I've mentioned, for the whole season. We do catch kings on and off throughout the year, but the winter months are generally the best. And around the full moons of April and May, that's when we see some of our best kingfish action, and that's when they school up to spawn here in the Southeast region. Now, we kite fish, we drift or slow troll live pilchards, herrings, and sardines in 90 to 150 feet of water, and that accounts for most of the kingfish caught in our area. And then anchoring and chumming with live pilchards, that's also a great way to catch the kings. Trolling deep diving lures like a Rapala Magnum, or trolling wire line rigs or planers with a 3.5 drone spoon or pink sea witch in a strip bait combo. That works really good, especially when you can't find any live bait and there's no live bait around. And then the kingfish, they do have some razor sharp teeth, so you want to use some wire leader to prevent cutoff. I like to use an 18-inch piece of number 3 or number 5 wire leader. And when we kite fish, we generally use circle hooks. And when we drift or slow troll, we'll go with a 5/0 J hook or even a treble hook when they're biting really good. That's what most of the commercial guys are using, treble hooks. And staying offshore, you know, since the kings have been hard to come by, but the dolphins have been cooperating on most of the days, mainly towards the south end of the region. We're still finding them 8 to 15 miles offshore around scattered weed lines and any floating debris. Most of the fish, they're being pointed out to us by frigate birds and terns, and we've been spotting those birds through our binoculars, and we've been trolling small lures while we're looking for the birds through our binoculars and looking for any signs of fish. And we have been picking up a few stray ones just out of the blue. Most of them have been around the birds and anything, you know, we have some sign of life before we catch them. Once we do find the fish, we've been throwing 20-pound spinning rods using cup bonita or small live pilchards. And the majority of the fish have been schoolies with an occasional larger fish mixed in. Now, moving inshore, the snook fishing remains really good throughout the region. The best fishing has been in the inlets where the snook are schooled up to spawn, but they're also being caught around the bridges of the Intercoastal Waterway and also around the open spillway canals. All this rain, we got a lot of spillways open. Live pilchards, live herrings have been the best bait, but any other good live bait should work. They're also being caught on jigs and soft plastics. And in the inlets have been biting the live baits drifted near the bottom on any tide. And when the water's been murky, they've been biting throughout the day. And when the water's clear, the evenings have been the best. And then if you fish around the bridges, the outgoing tide in the evening is going to be the best. And if you're fishing around those spillways, the early mornings and then the evenings again is going to be best around those spillways. And then we've also got tarpon. Tarpon fish has been pretty good considering how late in the season that we're dealing with here. Captain Joe Gonzalez, he's still finding decent numbers of tarpon, and they're headed north back from their annual spawning migration. He's been fly fishing for them early in the morning in the Angelfish, Broad, and Caesars Creek areas. And then he's been fishing all the way north up to Key Biscayne. And if you're not into fly fishing, a small live crab, pinfish, mullet, or a 7-inch soft plastic hoagie, rigged Texas style, that's also been getting bites. And then there's tarpon being caught in the inlets as well. I've been talking to Captain Bouncer Smith. He's been busy. When he's not busy catching snook in the inlets, he's been fishing for tarpon. He's been fishing on both the north and the south sides of Government Cut, but it's been good in all the inlets regardless. And the tarpon have been biting live crab early in the evening, and just like with the snook, the tide has not been much of an issue. And I've got a picture here, and this is Ralph Brew from Miami, and this is his first fly rod caught tarpon, and he was fishing with Captain Joe Gonzalez.
All right, congratulations there, Ralph. That's a great fish to start off with. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the sports grill hotspots from the southeast region. Inshore, fish the inlets with live pilchards, mullets, crabs for both snook and tarpon. You're going to use a 7.0 VM series circle hook on a 60-pound Suffix leader. And then offshore, look for the grass patches, floating debris, and bird activity for offshore dolphin action. Have cut ballyhoo ready before you leave the dock, so when you find those schoolies, Lauren, you're ready to catch them.
You'll be ready. All right, guys, right now let's head to the Central West with Captain Jeff Page. Jeffrey, what do you have for us this week?
Well, we don't have a lot of kingfish around this time. There are resident kings out over the wrecks and reefs, but we do have a lot of resident Spanish mackerel this time of year. And, during the spring, we have our migratory run, and then also in the fall, which is coming up in October. But right now, back to the present, we're catching a lot of smaller mackerels in all our inlets and passes, as well as up in the bays. Rick, the key has been finding the big schools of small hatchling baits or glass minnows. Once you've located those, best thing to do is one or two things. You can either throw lures in the schools once you see them blowing up on the bait, or you can go out and throw your cast net. I suggest using a 1/4-inch cast net anywhere out along the beach where you see pelicans diving, or along the white sand on the inlets, along the white sand edges of the grass flats where you see pelicans diving. 1/4-inch cast net, you're going to catch all the bait you need. And like Mike Holliday always says, when you think you got enough bait, throw that net one more time, load the well, go back to the areas where the bait's showing good, out on the beach. You and I did it a few years ago, Rick, or up in the bays, close to the inlets. You want to be near that green, clean water that the Gulf's flowing in. If you're going to use live bait, anchor up, start throwing out some loose chummies out, and the mackerel will start popping. Then what I like to do is I like to take a 1/0 or a 2/0 long shank hook, and that eliminates having to use wire leader because the length of that long shank hook will absorb some of that shock from his teeth. So it's a good way to catch mackerels this time of year. Some of the lures I like to use are the Mirodine MR17 or that Rapala Twitch and Wrap. And pretty soon they're going to have a new Paul Brown Soft Dean out, which is similar to the Mirodine. And I'll be talking more about that more in the future. Rolling on inshore, redfish. A lot of the captains down south are reporting a really good redfish bite using cut bait. It's that time of year. The water's hot. There's lots of rainwater, but the tides have been real high this full moon pattern. And Captain Jay Withers reports good redfishing up underneath the mangrove bushes on the east wall as well as the west wall of Charlotte Harbor. What he's doing, Rick, he's staying off the bushes as far as he can, throwing cut ladyfish chunks, cut pinfish chunks up under the bushes and waiting for the fish to come. Sometimes it happens right away, but you got to give it a little while, sometimes 5, 10, even 15 minutes before you move on up the way. The cleaner the water, the better the results, but don't give up on that tannic water because the fish are there. Also, up in the north part of the region, 22 to 24-inch fish are coming in from Palmasola Bay, Teresea Bay. What we're doing, Rick, is we're throwing golden brim saltwater assassins rigged on 1/4 and 1/8 ounce hook-up chartreuse jig heads in and around the bait schools. I have a photo tonight of Crazy Mike Danes and myself. We were fishing around some bays up in Teresea, around some mangroves, and we got those nice reds along with a couple more after that last week.
All right, let's go offshore, Bub.
Offshore, yellowtail snapper. Captain Jason Sherrill of Bad Habit Charters reports really good, consistent yellowtail snapper bite. What he's been doing, he's been getting out in that 120 to 140-foot range over wrecks and springs and also big ledges. And what he's been doing is putting out chum blocks, as well as chumming with small pieces of cut sardines, cut menhadens, cut pilchards, and then putting either a live shrimp, dead shrimp, or a chunk of a sardine on a small circle hook or jig head, dropping it down, and he's been getting some really nice yellowtails. Species 2, red grouper. Captain Jason reports the red grouper bite's been really consistent, as well as the yellowtail and mangs. He's been getting them in 100 to 140 feet of water, and what he's been looking for is the basic pattern that they use most of this time of year. They're looking for any hard bottom with big, tall bait stacks showing on their bottom machine, on their Humminbird, and that they're anchoring up, dropping down either live pinfish. You're going to get your bigger fish on the live pins, but if you can't catch any pinfish, frozen sardines have been working just as well. Real quick note, I want to just say that if you haven't already, I know we've been harping on it all summer, but we want you to join the CCA to protect our rights as anglers, and like always, get you a Chevy truck.
Great report, Jeffrey. Be safe driving to Cape Cod. I know you're towing the Costa trailer up there for Costa, so I want you to be safe. And I'm going to go ahead and get to the StarTron hotspots from the Central West region. Captain Jeffrey says inshore flounder, something he didn't talk about. Reports of big flounder catches in all the Central West inlets and passes, as well as around any of the inshore artificial reefs. Live shrimp or cut ladyfish on a 1/4 to 3/8 hookup jig head. And then offshore, mangrove snapper, nice mangs coming off the ledges and rock piles, as well as any wreck spring in and around 80 feet of water, Lauren.
Okay, when we return, you're going to have the Costa Conservation Minute for us, and you guys aren't going to want to miss Captain Patty Panstanine coming at you from the Panhandle. Up next.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Reactor, the best built performance sports watch, period. StarTron, cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. Strike Zone Fishing. Suffix, the world's most hardcore fishing line. And Yamaha, reliability starts here.
At highway speeds, things can get pretty windy. That's why the Chevrolet Cruze Eco has active aero grille shutters that close at higher speeds to improve aerodynamics. With an EPA estimated 42 miles per gallon highway, the Chevrolet Cruze Eco offers the best highway fuel economy of any gas engine in America. Always thinking of ways to give you more while using less. That's American ingenuity to find new roads.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector's Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
You already know about the La Jolla Resort in Isla Mirada, so let's talk about the La Jolla experience. With an on-site boat ramp, the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic is just minutes away. And when you return from fishing, there's barbecue pits to cook your catch while your family enjoys the pool or one of our new remodeled rooms. This historic resort, the La Jolla, is family-owned and operated and has a friendly staff ready to make your La Jolla experience a really great one.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
Costa Conservation Minute is about taking a kid fishing. Now, in the Murphy house, when we first started taking our kids fishing, the most important thing was that we didn't have expectations of being out there all day. Make it fun and interesting. Make it so that they catch lots of fish, whether it's jacks or ladyfish or trout. When a child can catch something every single minute of the day, then it becomes fun for them. The other thing that comes to mind is it's not something that you have to do necessarily off of a boat. It's something that you can do off of a bank somewhere. It's something that you can do off of a pier or maybe even a jetty or a beach. The key is, guys, that they have to have lots of fish to catch, and when so doing that, then they will be entertained. The other thing that really works well is if there's a bobber for them to watch. When that bobber goes down, the excitement level goes up. Those are a couple key things in keeping it fun and interesting for kids, and that's today's Costa Conservation Minute.
Always important to get the kids outside.
You know what?
Right.
There's the only way they can be exposed to it. We say it every year.
Yep.
And it's so important.
Yep.
It
Pique
really
their
is.
interest early. That's the way to do it.
That's right.
Okay, guys, rounding out the night for us from the Florida Panhandle is Captain Pat Deneen. I didn't say it. I didn't say it again this time. Pat, what do you have for us on mackerel?
Hey, Lauren, Rick, tell you what, we got kings and Spanish mackerel. Usually the Spanish show up in late February, maybe March and April. And then the kings show up once the bait gets here, and that's usually in the early part of May. Right now, there's Spanish in the bays and along the beaches. The kings are along the beaches and around structure out to about 200 foot of water. They're also in Pensacola Bay late summer and fall around the bogey schools. We've been tarpon fishing along the beach, and I've been seeing plenty of big king mackerels cruising down the bar and also Spanish mackerels. Over in Pensacola, Captain Wes Rozier has been catching nice Spanish mackerels using topwater baits along Santa Rosa Island and Pensacola Bay. And then if you really want the most dependable king bite right now, it's going to be around the fads and over the bigger rocks in 80 to 120 feet of water. A live cigar minnow or herring rigged on a wire with a treble hook in the nose, or another treble hook as a stinger rig is the way to go. But you can also use troll diving plugs like the Raffles 20s or 30s, the big lip baits, or a spoon behind a planer is another good way to go. Something that's going to get your lure down in good ways. The kings are averaging 8 to 12 pounds. The Spanish are averaging probably 2 to 3 pounds.
All right, well, let's stay
offshore.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, the wahoos and dolphins, there's been a good rip running east to west near the spur. Sometimes it's a little bit north of the spur. Sometimes it's a little bit south of there. The water on the north side is real dirty, green, green off-colored water. The water on the south side is really pretty blue water. And right where those two water masses meet, there's usually a really good weed line. Just basically run south till you find the rip and then troll them along the clean side of the rip. Been catching plenty of wahoos and dolphins, a few billfish, pull a combination of baits, of lures, ballyhoos, and then if you want to target those wahoos, I like to pull a Yozuri trembler flat right off this corner behind a heavy trolling lead, something that's going to really get that lure down deep. The wahoos are running 15 to 50 pounds, and the dolphins are averaging 15 to 20 pounds. And like I say, don't be surprised if a blue marlin or white marlin shows up in your spread.
All right, let's stay inshore. Yeah, go ahead,
Yeah,
Pat.
Rick. We've still been finding plenty of tarpon along the beaches, and we're hooking several of them off the piers as well, particularly the Okaloosa Island Pier. I like to find a section of beach where the water is clean with minimal boat traffic, away from the jet skis and the parasailers. The fish are migrating towards the west, swimming as singles, pairs, and in small schools. The average size fish is running probably 70 to 90 pounds. We've been sight fishing them using live cigar minnows, herrings, thread fins, filters. I'm hooking them through the nose on a 5 to 8 BMC circle hook, snelling the hook to 50 to 60 pound fluorocarbon, and then I'm leading the fish with my cast by 15 or 20 feet. And then while we're sitting there fishing, as I mentioned, the mackerels are swimming up and down the bars, but there's also plenty of blacktip sharks as well. And then finally inshore, I spoke with Captain Daniel Pike in Destin. And he tells me there's a really good mangrove snapper bite going on at the Destin Bridge and also on the jetties when it's something enough to fish up there. He's been using live shrimp and small filters, hooking their baits on the Carolina rig with 20-pound leader and a light wire circle hook. The best bite is on the outgoing side, but either side can be good as long as the current's moving. Fishing the baits close to the pilings or the rocks. The average size mangroves are running 10 to 12 inches. They've also been getting a few big redfish. A similar bite is going on at St. Andrews Jetty and the rocks in Pensacola Pass. And interesting enough, this past week, one of the fellas, Roy Stanky, fishing the jetties for mangroves, ended up with a mutton snapper, which is the first one I'm seeing caught here.
All right, great report. Hey, Pat, I do have a question for you, but more importantly, I want to congratulate you for being mentioned as one of the captains of the year, guys, through the Saltwater Sportsman Contest. Congratulations to you. I'm really proud of the fact that the Panhandle got represented.
That's right. Big congrats to both of you.
Oh, yeah, man.
Representing the show.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
Oh.
Well, call me after the show, bub. We'll have a talk.
Breaking news.
Maybe we'll have a Starbucks or something of that nature on the ride home. But, hey, I do have a question for you. Got a bunch of fresh water last week with all the rain. How has that affected the bay right there in Destin?
Oh, it's definitely affected the water clarity in a big way. The bay looks like a triple brewed Lipton iced tea. So the guys fishing the bay are mostly fishing the deeper water. I think a lot of that shallow water, the salinity has gone so low. You know, it's just very, very fresh water. So I think they're mostly targeting those deeper areas around the deeper docks and the bridges.
All right, well, good job, Pat. I appreciate you very much. We're going to go ahead and get to the hot spots from the Panhandle region. Let's see what the Blue Water Outriggers hotspots are this week. Inshore, mangrove snappers at the Destin jetties use live shrimp or small minnows. And then offshore, troll the rips running from the spur into the canyon for blue water pelagics. You know what blue water pelagics are, Lauren?
You can tell me.
I'm going to tell you. It could be marlin, it could be wahoos, it could be kingfish. What else could it be, Harry? Dolphin. Anything
Tuna?
basically with the V tail.
Nice.
Not to be mistaken for the Madonna.
Yeah, right.
All right.
Really great reports this week.
Yeah, man, the
great stuff
captains
from
were
everybody.
really on fire. They
Absolutely,
really did a good
that's
job
right.
this
And
week.
we're going to have another great show next week. But if you want to know what's on that one, you're going to have to come back to find out. Stick around, guys. We'll have it for you on the other side of the break.
For over 30 years, Guy Harvey has masterfully captured the wonder of marine wildlife in his artwork. Now he's sharing his inspiration with the Florida Lottery by creating 12 exclusive images for the Collector Series Guy Harvey Scratch-Off game, featuring a top prize of $50,000 and a second chance opportunity to fish with Guy Harvey himself. Celebrate the beauty and riches of Florida with Guy Harvey Scratch-Off games today. The Florida Lottery. Just imagine.
He's a 20 years straight, get to work on time. He's loved one woman for all his life. Everybody knows he ain't just tough, he's strong.
The all-new 2014 Chevy Silverado. Strong for all the roads ahead.
Hi. I lost a big fish earlier today. Wasn't using suffix. It was about this big.
Look, slow down there, cowboy, okay? A fish in the lobster van, huh? You want your fish. Sorry, honey, that fish is gone.
Always use the best line, Suffix 832.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a paw and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
If you like fishing or the history of fishing, then I have a must-see place for you. The IGFA Fishing Hall of Fame and Museum in Dania Beach. What makes the IGFA so cool is that they have theaters where you can learn about the journey of fishing, galleries where the kids can see antique reels or catch a big one. The Hall of Fame room has over 140 beautiful fish mounts, and maybe in the E.K. Harry Library, you may see a live alligator. For more family fun, go to IGFA.org.
Next week, we'll be talking tuna. Make sure to check us out next Thursday, August 1st. You can also catch repeats on Friday and Saturday. Just visit Sun Sports and your local listings for more details.
All right, guys, we got some special guests here. We got Caden and we got Chaz. Now, Chaz's mom sent me an email about Caden, and you also were being a little bit bullied in school. So guess what? You know what, guys? She's a real fisherman. She fished a tournament over the weekend. It was the second annual, what was that tournament called?
Snoopy Rod Classic.
Snoopy Rod Classic. All right. And so you ended up winning the first place. which thank goodness for me, I actually donated one of the Yamaha jerseys I used to wear fishing the Redfish Tour, and you won it. And then my little man here, Caden, he won his division fishing with his sister. Hey, I want you to show me, what's the biggest fish you ever caught? Do like this. What's the biggest one? Show me. Show me. Show me. How big? How big was he? Show me. Huh?
Well, mine was like this.
That's big. Thank you for coming to see me. You guys are the best. The Whitfield family.